Welcome, class of 2012. Congratulations. You made it. You did it. Here you are in your cute black dresses after 4 exciting, stimulating years. You should be deeply proud of yourself. You graduated from the best sociology program in the country. But you didn't do it alone. I like to ask the class of 2012 to stand up. Please stand up. Turn around, facing the back, and give a warm round of applause to all the people who supported you over all these years. It takes a community to graduate a brown broon. Sit down again, please. Talking about family, I like to take you back to that fateful Thanksgiving dinner a couple of years ago. Just when your mom had the ladle with cranberry sauce dangling over the white tablecloth, your Uncle Terry turned to you and asked you what you were doing at UCLA. You said you were thinking of becoming a sociology major. Silence ensued. Everyone looked at you, not sure what to think. Your mom's hand, still holding the ladle, started to shake a bit. Then your little cousin broke the silence by asking, "Mommy, what is sociology?" A deep sigh of relief swept across the table, because that was the question everyone wanted to ask. You explained that sociology is the study of people doing things together, how doctors interact with patients, the difference a college degree makes across the life course, why obesity has become a policy priority, how likely employers are to hire immigrants, how civil unrest may destabilize nation states. Uncle Terry, who it needs to be said has not made that much of his life, still looked skeptical. He asked, "What can you do with sociology?" And you answered, "Well, there are some famous people who were sociology majors. Reverend Martin Luther King, LA Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Reverend Jesse Jackson, former President Ronald Reagan, and First Lady Michelle Obama." This year, we had a unique insight in the deep, transformative potential of sociology. A couple of months ago, the full sociology faculty arrived for a meeting in Haynes room 279. We found the door closed and locked. This is a room without windows, so we couldn't look inside. We got a key. We opened the door, and there we found a young undergraduate couple in a deep, passionate embrace. I learned 2 things from this surprise. First, people go to great extremes to get the attention of their professors. Secondly, I realized that sociology is the science of passion. All this talk about nation-state formation, marriage patterning, diffusion of innovations, social activism, and face-to-face interaction simply stirs the passions. It creates energy that needs an outlet. We trust that you will use your energy not only for your personal pleasure, but as a gateway to make the world a better place. To get you in the mood, here are 3 voices of UCLA graduates. First to speak will be Beth DuFault, followed by Nidia, Gracia, and then Zhou.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to move this down because I'm short. My mom always told me, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. 30 years ago, I started my UCLA journey. I was an applied mathematics major. I was on South Campus all the time, very seldom even saw North Campus. And life intruded. I met my future husband, a growing family, had demands. I worked as a respiratory therapist, and I dropped out 12 classes from my math degree when I kept falling asleep in real analysis after working night shift doing codes and ER traumas. So now we fast forward 30 years later, 5 kids later. My husband and I are dropping off my youngest daughter at UC Berkeley, and we moved her into the dorms. On our way home, I started crying in the car. And my husband asked, "Is it because you miss her so much?" And I said, "No." "It's because I wish it were me." So that was that. The next day I was here at Murphy Hall. I was meeting with Kathy Behrens, my advisor at Letters and Science. She walked in with the funniest look on her face and she said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "No." She said, "I was your advisor in 1984. When do you want to come back?" 2 months later, I was here on North Campus as a sociology major. I will always love an elegant mathematical proof, but the intervening years taught me that the interplay between structure and agency, why humans do what they do, that was what I was fascinated in. As a mom, I tell my own kids, there are very, very few totally wrong roads, and there are even fewer irrevocable wrong decisions. So don't take life so seriously. Have fun. Make a decision. Just do it. If it's wrong, it's a detour. Some detours are worse than others, but you can always take a turn and get back on the right path. And I'm a prime example of this. I thought that I had lost my dream of ever graduating from UCLA, but here I am. I thought that I had lost my dream of doing research, but I've spent the last 2 years doing intriguing, wonderful research with professors like Dr. Emerson, Dr. Halley, Dr. Terrell in the history department, and I get to present some of that research this summer at Oxford. I thought I'd lost my dream of being Dr. DuFault, but I got a fully funded fellowship for a PhD program at University of Arizona studying consumer culture theory. The reason I submitted my request to be a voice for the class of 2012 was because I wanted to say a heartfelt thank you. I wanted to say thank you to UCLA. I wanted to say thank you to UCLA's administration. Thank you to my professors who have made my dream come true. But most of all, I wanted to say thank you to you guys, my fellow students. The first day before I came back, I was so nervous. I was more nervous than a preschooler on their first day away from home. And my husband asked, he goes, "Oh my God, aren't you going to feel really weird?" And I said, "Yeah, I really am." But you know what? Your smiles that first day and every day thereafter, the times you moved your backpacks off of the seat in a crowded lecture hall to make room for me, when you invited me into your study groups, into your discussion sections, and when you opened up your hearts and shared your stories and your laughter with me and your friendship, you're what made this possible. And finally, I want to leave you with this. 30 years from now, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, wow, can I really do this dream? Is it possible? I want to leave you with the words of my family's favorite movie, Galaxy Quest. The crew of the Galaxy Quest, right? Never give up, never surrender. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. When I first stepped foot
at UCLA as a first-generation college student. The dorms amazed me. The course catalog confused me. I had no idea what a major was, and the professors scared me to death. I quickly realized how demanding being a UCLA student was going to be, and was determined to persevere. Now, 4 years later, thanks to the warmth and genuine caring of too many professors to name, I can say I no longer have a phobia of professors. I have been a research assistant to many professors, voluntarily visited my professors in their office hours, voluntarily, just to chat, and have even gone to my faculty mentor's house for brunch. Yes, I even have a faculty mentor now, and I have gone to her house for brunch. There are 20 very special people here today, right there. Among these 20 people are my loving family, my closest friends, my brothers, and my best friend, my mom. And I couldn't even have gotten over my phobia of professors and many other phobias I had coming here without the help of my fellow Bruins, a lot of whom are graduating here with me today. Thanks to them, I was honestly happy throughout my 4 years here, no matter how confused and scared I felt. I made lifelong friends in FSP, the freshman summer program. I joined a Latina sorority that proved to be my home away from home. I was surrounded by good-hearted, genuine, loving, and loyal Bruins who, like me, were often first generation, from minority groups, and scared, but also fighting to make it. My new friends and I took a lot of classes that not only expanded our knowledge of the world, but also pushed us to think critically about many different topics. I was able to craft my own degree package, double majoring in sociology and psychology and minoring in philosophy. You can say I'm a well-rounded scholar. I'd like to think that this commencement, this cap and gown, is not solely for me, but is also for my family and for my community, including family and friends who have come as far as Arizona and Mexico to watch me graduate. I'd like to think that this degree is for those who cannot be on this podium, as well as for the little ones that are just not there yet. This degree is for those that came before me and did not get a chance to go to college. It's for those who didn't have the privilege, yes, graduates, the privilege of studying for finals. I will try my best to give back to my community as I move forward in academia. My plan is to earn my PhD and conduct research on first-generation college students with the goal of informing and creating future programs that will help improve the college experience of people like me. As I move on with my unique journey, I will never forget this moment. I graduated from UCLA. I graduated as a sociology major. I went through finals week multiple times. I studied in Powell Library. I walked through campus and experienced the beautiful scenery. I attended one of the most prestigious universities in the world. And graduates, so did you. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of what we've gone through to get here. I'm proud of being here with each of you. I'm proud that you're here. Congratulations, class of 2012. Let's go show the world what we've got.
When Austrian composer Gustav Mahler visited Niagara Falls, his immediate reaction was, "Fortissimo at last!" Fortissimo, an Italian musical term meaning very loud, was used here to connote a feeling of splendor, of surprise, an aha moment, if you will. Two aha moments define my experience as a sociology major. First was the realization that, aha, I absolutely can do something with sociology. While this could provide the basis of a speech of its own, I want to focus on my second aha moment, the discovery that, aha, I finally understand what it means to feel passionately about something. Throughout my high school years, the idea of being passionate about something baffled me. Though I had many odd hobbies throughout my childhood, there was never one thing that I would willingly pursue for long periods of time without any pay or other forms of material compensation. Shortly after I began sociology coursework, I experienced genuine passion for the first time. I was in my sophomore year and had just completed independent research on race and ethnicity. I realized that I had collected these data and arrived at my conclusions completely on my own. And I found myself willingly speaking with anyone I knew about my research. And believe me, I used to hate talking about school. Inspired by this experience, I later took part in Professor Emerson's Sociology Immersion program, where I was assigned to intern at a continuation high school. Twice a week, I observed and interacted with the school's students and staff, and began to feel very troubled that many of these students were reading at an elementary reading level, misunderstanding basic math concepts, and exhibiting comprehension and critical reading skills at far below average levels. What most disturbed me was that they believed that they were stupid and thought that they could never attend college or pursue careers that they enjoyed. The school faculty did what they could to motivate these students and were able to inspire several students to alter that mindset. Yet, I realized that the students' low achievement and low self-esteem levels remain an intractable and structural national phenomenon that cannot be easily solved by just a few well-meaning people. I did not want my involvement with this school to stop at the conclusion of my research project. Seeing that this school did not have a performing arts program and that many of its students lacked self-esteem, I founded a performing arts outreach club on campus that regularly teaches a theater elective at this school. Throughout this process, I have had the chance to further my passions while developing as a leader. Most importantly, I witnessed the high schoolers' genuine academic and personal growth alongside my dedicated UCLA club members who have become great friends of mine. These are experiences that I never foresaw coming into college, but which have deeply shaped me. I look forward to applying what I have learned as a UCLA Sociology major to the work I will begin in the fall as a secondary math teacher in the Mississippi Delta region through Teach for America, a national nonprofit educational organization that places teachers in various low-income schools to fight educational inequity. Throughout this journey, I can say that my parents, my friends, my family, my fellow classmates, all of you guys have been great support systems, and I thank you so much for this experience. And I know that regardless of what career path or graduate program I will choose in the long run, I will use all that I have learned as a sociology student and a campus leader at UCLA. I will look back upon the endless days and nights spent collecting data, writing memos, analyzing Karl Marx, planning lessons, and laughing with friends, and use all of that same perseverance, patience, time management, and joy to pursue all of my dreams. It is my greatest hope that each and every one of you has also taken your fortissimo or aha moments here as your foundations in pursuing whatever it is you are passionate about. I hope that you will keep looking out for those moments in your lives and freely allow them to shape who you are. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Zsuzsa Berend and I am responsible for the honors program. And so I just want to say a few words to my very dear honors students here. So I wish to congratulate you today. You chose the hardest path at UCLA by choosing to do your own research and write an honors thesis. And even though you had a whole year for this, it took up much of the time. You have encountered problems, yet you persevered. I loved working with you on a wide range of projects, and I've learned a lot from you. I've learned, for example, what punk rock collectives are and how people who join them think about social activism. I've learned the ways in which the Domestic Violence Intervention Center defines the goal of self-sufficiency for its clients and how it helps them attain independence. I've become familiar with microanalysis of negotiations between children and adults in an experimental after-school program. I've come to appreciate quantitative analyses of interlocking directorates in Hong Kong and corporate violations in America, and of 2 Spanish newspapers' coverage of the Catalan language debate in Spain, and more. And this is why I love teaching at UCLA and love teaching honors in particular, because I keep learning. To quote my esteemed colleague at the University of Chicago, Andrew Abbott, who said, the goal of education is education. I already have fond memories of the seemingly endless flow of drafts and the many hours I spent commenting on them, and I hope that once you've recovered, you will too. Throughout the process, you showed real grit, devotion, and seriousness, but also, luckily, playfulness and humor. In the process, you discovered things about yourself, but much more importantly, you discovered things about our larger social world. And I think this is why you came to UCLA, and this is why you majored in sociology, to understand our world as ongoing a project as it is. We often talked about how every good project begins with good questions. So I just want to briefly quote the poet Rainer Maria Rilke, who in a letter to a young poet wrote the following: "You are so young. Be patient toward all the unresolved questions and try to love the questions themselves. Live the questions now." You all lived your questions for the last year, and I hope you will live your questions in the future and find your answers by and by, just like you did at the end of the thesis writing process. So I would like to call your names and in alphabetical order to acknowledge your hard work here. Nidia Basilio. Kayla Butler. Kenneth DeRigg. Talisa Hayes. Tony Hine. Jin John. Oh, Eduardo Duran. I skipped a name here. Paul Klein. Jessica Martinez. Danielle Weinstein. And even though I'm very proud of all of you, and I enjoyed all of your thesis work and all of your projects. We have 2 awards, and only 2, and the recipients are the Leo Cooper Award for Outstanding Honors Thesis goes to Eduardo Duran. So I didn't really forget you. For his very thoughtful and fascinating study of punk rock collectives and new forms of social activism. Eduardo is one of those students that comes when he needs to talk to you, sits there, we talk, and then he goes away and reads 10 more books, and within a few days he incorporates all of that and sends you a new wonderful draft. So I am very, very pleased with this process and this project. The Lisa Medeiros Award for Research Excellence goes to Talisa Hayes, who encountered numerous setbacks, yet worked systematically and creatively to present a compelling thesis about the sociological factors behind domestic violence. I never even thought this project would take off because I was a little dubious about access issues, but Talisa was very creative and didn't take no for an answer, which is what I learned about her, and she finished a thesis And it turned out to be a very wonderful project and a very wonderful end product. Thank you very much, guys, and I wish you the best for the future. And it was lovely to work with you.
It is my greatest honor to introduce our commencement speaker. He is a man who is comfortable both in the White House and in White Castle restaurants. At the White House, he was Associate Director of Public Engagement. At the White Castle restaurant, well, you'll have to discover that for yourself. Most importantly, though, only a few years ago, he was sitting in these same white seats as a UCLA graduate majoring in sociology and film. Please welcome actor and public leader Kal Penn Modi.
Yes! What's up? How's it going? Yeah, good? Everybody get here? There's totally people that are late. Well, good morning. As Chair Timmermans mentioned, like many of you, I also barely graduated from UCLA with a degree in sociology. It's an honor to be here, though, with all of you, parents, family, friends, grandparents, faculty, and, of course, graduates. Yeah, that's it? Just one yeah? Man, that's better. Now, as graduates, I'm assuming that you've taken advantage of the serious wealth of information that all of these professors and many others in front of you have. This is a really unique place, and all of these folks are well in line with the excellence of a lot of other Bruins like George Pimentel, who is best known as the inventor of the chemical laser, Elinor Ostrom, winner of the Nobel Prize in Economics, and Michael Gottlieb, who was known as the first physician to diagnose AIDS. Apparently, no one of that caliber was available to deliver your commencement address. So instead, your faculty thought that it was appropriate to invite an unemployed alumnus who was perhaps best known for playing a stoner. I fear that this place has gone downhill since I graduated. Now, as your commencement speaker, I'm supposed to say something meaningful, which is actually a lot of pressure. And as I was mingling with you guys before, at least 4 people came over and said, it better be good. So I was stressed out, and I'm still a little bit stressed out. I wanted to make sure that I said something good. But as I started writing and stressing over what I was going to say, it sort of dawned on me that I should probably just relax, because I realized that half of you are going to be too hungover to remember anything that I'm going to say anyway. And the other half of you know that you still have 1 class left. So you got to come back for the summer or the fall. So, like, I should just take it easy with what I'm going to say. And then I was like, well, instead of telling you to, you know, seize the day, live your dreams, blah, 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 we're all going to die anyway. So maybe I should start with a little bit of truth. So I was like, okay, well, congratulations to the sociology class of 2012. Your degree is worthless. As your parents may have speculated and feared, a degree in sociology offers you no practical advancement down the well-worn path into the world. It is utterly useless in climbing the corporate ladder or attaining stability or wealth. People who graduate with degrees in sociology often go on to get a master's or a PhD in sociology so that they can, wait for it, teach sociology to other people who will then also get advanced degrees in sociology. Yes, the last 4 years of your lives, the last 5 years of your lives have provided you with a piece of paper that is, practically speaking, useless. Your poli-sci friends are going to law school, your pre-med friends are going to be saving lives, your architecture buddies will be designing the green buildings of the future. And what do you do tomorrow when you wake up? After I graduated from UCLA, I worked a lot of odd jobs. I waited tables, I worked as a messenger for a production company, making coffee, you name it, I did it. What I learned to enjoy along the way was the journey, and when I wrote that, I then scratched it out and I said I should be a little less idyllic. What I learned to appreciate along the way was the journey. So when I would run errands for a radio station here in town, I would be really fascinated thinking about the practical applications of things that I learned in my classes, like vertically integrated media models. You're laughing because you don't know that I'm that big of a dork, but it's true. And it got me excited. So even though I was just making coffee and running errands, it was kind of interesting that I could witness firsthand the inner workings of a big company like that. When I was working another terrible job at a production company at a major studio here, I remembered what my professors in my gender and sociology and race classes would teach about things like male privilege. When I sat down with a boss and he once said that he doesn't, quote, hire women unless they're hot because I don't want to get sued for my filthy mouth. Or another boss who gawked at an Asian American actor during a casting meeting and said, what is that kid, Asian? I don't want an Asian. Bring me a good, solid American actor. The world after graduation was, and surely still is, sometimes shockingly rude and full of D-bags. So, as I continued to think about what sort of advice, if any, I was equipped to give you today, as you might imagine, I was a little stumped. I know that you're all going to be doing different things when you graduate, so I decided I would come up with 5 tips that I wish I had been given when I was about to graduate. So here we go. Tip number 1. No matter where you're going, if you're there on behalf of your job, even if you're not meeting your boss that day, dress appropriately. And dudes, shave your face. As the chair mentioned, I had the honor of serving the Obama administration for about 2 years, working in the Office of Public Engagement. If that's the only woo we're getting for the president, there we go. I was working on outreach to young Americans. And it was a pretty junior level White House aide job. I really enjoyed it. About 2 weeks into my time at the White House, I was pulling almost all-nighters. I was there maybe 16, 17 hours a day. And the second week there, I wasn't really having any public meetings, so I sort of let myself go. I knew I needed a haircut. I hadn't shaved in about a week, but I knew I wasn't really going to meet anybody on behalf of the White House. And the second weekend, I'm walking down the hall, and I happen to run into the president who's walking the other way. And I sort of said hi to him, and he said hi to me, and I was really amped for the rest of the day. And the next week went by, and the next week, and it wasn't for another 6 months that I actually had to go in to brief him on something that I was working on. So 6 months into my stint at the White House, I walk into the Oval Office, where I'm about to brief the President of the United States on a meeting that he has that I'm organizing. And I walk into the Oval Office, and I'm feeling like this is a really fun moment in my life. And I walk in, and I'm all prepared, and I have a freshly pressed suit, and I had just gotten a haircut, and I obviously shaved and put on a new tie. And I walk into this office, and the president looks at me, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "Hey, look who decided to shave today." So, to recap, no matter where you're going, if you're there on behalf of your job, even if you're not meeting your boss that day, dress appropriately, and dudes, shave your face. Tip number 2, enjoy your journey, especially as you're doing things that you don't entirely want to do, and talk to people who disagree with you. Their perspective might change your mind for the better. Now, I should be clear, this does not mean that you have to be one of those annoying people who says, everything happens for a reason. Everything does not happen for a reason. Sometimes really terrible things happen, and sometimes there's no reason. Sometimes amazing things also happen, and there's no reason for that either. I think that's the beauty and the magic of life. I'll tell you a short story about a little movie I did called Van Wilder. That should only get one woo. I shot this movie, Van Wilder, a couple years after I graduated from UCLA, and I almost didn't do this movie. I was an out-of-work actor working a series of irregular jobs, and I had an agent who was representing me at the time, and she called me, and she said, Kal, I know you've been reading for these one-line parts, and here's an opportunity to play a supporting lead in a really big movie. This is awesome. Come pick up the script and let's talk about it. I thought that was a little odd because she wasn't sending the script over, she wasn't emailing it, she just said, come pick it up and let's talk about it. So I said, wow, this is a really big deal. I said, all right, I'm gonna pick it up tonight, I'll read it, and then I'll come back in the morning and we'll talk about it. What's the name of the character? Just so I know who I'm auditioning for. She goes, well, why don't you just come pick it up and I'll tell you all about it. Why don't you just tell me the name of the character? I'm excited, I want to read this script. She goes, well, why don't you just come in? This went back and forth endlessly. And she finally said, okay, the character's name is Taj Mahal. I hung up on her. And she called me back and she goes, I knew you were gonna hang up on me. Like, yeah, I'm not playing a character named Taj Mahal. And she explained to me that in the reality that is the entertainment industry, for any actor starting out, you gotta start somewhere. And for an actor who looks like me, I was probably gonna have to take a number of roles that I didn't necessarily wanna take in an ideal world to get my foot in the door. And I talked to a bunch of other folks about this, and it seemed that that was true. So I auditioned for this part, I ended up getting the part, and then ended up talking to a lot of folks about how I could maybe change a little bit in the script so that it was a little less offensive to me. Clearly I failed miserably at the title of the character. But had I not taken that job, I also don't think I would have had the chance to book the role of Kumar in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Thank you. I didn't write it, but I will take credit. And the reason I say that is that I think it was having a studio credit under my belt that helped me book that job, which I loved. And having the chance to do Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle gave me the chance to do the most special artistic endeavor to me, which was a really small film based on a book called The Namesake. And the reason I got the audition for The Namesake, which is a drama, sort of reminded me of The Catcher in the Rye when I read it, was because the director's 15-year-old son was a huge Harold and Kumar fan. And while I was lobbying through the right channels to get my foot in the door, this 15-year-old was telling his mom, Mom, you gotta audition Kal Penn from Harold and Kumar for the role. So basically, if I had turned down the audition for Van Wilder and not called that agent back after I hung up on her, I never would have had the chance to do what remains one of the most special artistic endeavors that I've had. So the point of that story was enjoy your journey, especially as you're doing things that you don't entirely want to do. Tip number 3, it's okay if your interests change and if people call you crazy. Your parents probably don't want me to say this, so I should apologize in advance. But your parents and friends obviously mean the best for you. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that some of you may have a tough time explaining to them, and they have a tough time explaining or understanding how happiness can come from something other than financial stability. Many of them think you're crazy. Maybe they think you're crazy because you want to join the Peace Corps, or because you want to volunteer somewhere. Maybe they think you're crazy because you pay twice as much for a pair of clothes that's made in America. Maybe you're crazy for cultivating an organic garden. Sometimes social responsibility in general is just deemed as crazy, along with the desire to divorce happiness from money. Lots of people think that's insane. You should know that this trend will continue for you well after college. If you're not raking in the dough, if you're not entirely financially stable within a few years, or if you just grab a backpack and go travel the world with no money in your pocket, people might call you crazy. This is not a bad thing. I never had a friend who was called crazy who didn't do something awesome. They struggled, but they did something awesome, and they might not be on the same path today. My buddy Joey Cheek won, among many other awards, the gold medal in speed skating in the 2006 Olympics. It's something that he worked his entire life towards, 17 plus years. But the morning after he won the Olympics, he woke up in his bed and he realized, as he says, I loved what I had done, but I spent 17 years, immeasurable amounts of my parents' and my country's resources all so that I could skate really fast in a circle, in tights. So he woke up that morning and he donated his entire winnings and started a nonprofit organization to advocate for peace in Darfur. And he recently graduated from Princeton. Now, lots of people would think it's crazy to strive to even enter, not to mention win, a gold medal at the Olympics. And even more people would say that it's crazy to leave athletics after actually doing it. But I think his story's pretty awesome, and if you talk to him today, he's very happy. So I think it's okay if your interests change after you get out of here and if people call you crazy. Tip number 4 is along the same lines. Take risks, because I think you only really fail when you choose to give up. Now that sounds incredibly cliche, and let me clarify something. I failed statistics. Twice. This had absolutely no effect on anything I've ever done since. So I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is that you should move to a city that freaks you out. You should take a job that you're nervous about taking. Most of you chose sociology because you care very deeply for the world and you want to help solve the inequities that exist. So you're going to have to tell people that it's okay that you're doing something that they think is impractical. You don't need to be practical. I always remember still vividly how my high school guidance counselor called me into her office, sat me down, and told me that my desire to work in both the film industry and public service was impossible. She disapprovingly looked at me when I was 17 and she said, "Kal, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Have you heard of that phrase?" And in fact, I had heard of that phrase. And to this day, it weirds me out that anyone would offer that kind of oversimplified advice. I realize now that what she probably meant was that there were incredible risks in doing what I had wanted to do, and that it was going to be very scary, and that I would probably spend years working odd jobs and living in really shady apartments in very shady neighborhoods, making very little money with no guarantee of success or stability, and that I could fail. Had she said all of those things to me, she would have been absolutely correct. But in reality, to me, those things aren't failure unless you're actually deciding to give up. So if you want to do something and if you enjoy doing it, just don't give up. Take risks, because you only really fail if you choose to give up. Now, tip number 5, which is the last tip, goes back to social etiquette. You've heard this a lot, but I just wish I had paid attention. If you're in an uncomfortable situation and you generally are the type of person who speaks before they think, make sure you think before you actually speak and words come out of your mouth. I remember when I was here, taking a lot of classes in women's studies and cross-listed classes on sexuality and sociology and deviant behavior, as I mentioned, gender power dynamics. And once I left UCLA, I started seeing these sociological patterns in the film industry, in the workplace, when you're out at the grocery store. I also realized I didn't have the most traditional career path, just both as a guy who happens to be Asian American and just as a dude. And I kept hearing about it, which sort of weirded me out. Every time someone felt the need to bring this up, they would say, and I never had a clue why they would say this, but they would talk about how terrible or how nice it was that I had a non-traditional career as an Indian American. I'm like, all right, so I got used to that. So a few years after graduation, I might have found myself in Vegas. It might have been for a college buddy's bachelor party. And after consuming adult beverages, as folks over the age of 21 do from time to time in a responsible manner, I went along for the weekend's events. Now, I'm not a big gambler. I'm not a big drinker, so actually contrary to the acting roles I've taken, in real life, a bachelor party weekend like this might mean that I'm standing idly by while debauchery goes on around me. Now, by the end of this particular night, and by popular vote of the rest of the group, it was decided that we take the bachelor to an establishment called the Crazy Horse. To the grandparents in the audience, contrary to its name, the Crazy Horse establishment had very little to do with either mental health or equestrian life. I should note that these types of clubs are not really places I enjoy. For endless reasons, I was the Holden Caulfield of the group. I ended up spending the entire time talking to a young lady who worked there, who also happened to be Indian American, as she took a break from her dancing. To the grandparents, she wasn't like a ballet dancer or anything like that. So about an hour after we got there, my friends were all ready to leave. So we all got up, and in front of all of my buddies, I turned to this woman that I was chatting with, and because I was in an uncomfortable situation and I didn't think before I spoke, I just blurted out, "Well, it was really nice to meet you. And can I just say how refreshing it is to meet another Indian American in a non-traditional career?" So you see, my degree in sociology equipped me to get made fun of by all of my buddies endlessly because of what I blurted out at the end of bachelor party weekend. So the lesson here, again, on social etiquette is if you're in an uncomfortable situation, just think before you speak. Now back to your actual graduation. Of course, by now, and I assume it's clear, a degree in sociology is actually far from useless. The opposite is true. My sociology degree, I think, helped prepare me for every job that I've ever had, and for life in general. And I think that for you, the answer to the question, what do you do when you wake up tomorrow, is wide open. Your life doesn't have to be about climbing any sort of a ladder, certainly not one that's already been built by anyone else before you. It means that you might take a traditional job if you choose to, or you might write research books, or serve as policy analysts, or run for office, or become a sports agent, all over the course of your lives, because maybe you see something that draws those things together. Maybe you'll develop a passion for something entirely new. You have the privilege, the incredible privilege, of having a humane perspective on a constantly fluid, ever-changing society, so you can really do anything that you want. The important thing, I think, to take with you as you grab your fake diploma and leave, these are still fake, right? They still do that in case you guys fail your classes, so they mail you the diploma? Man, that's so gonna suck for like 3 of you. Oh, I remember this. Anyway, as you grab your fake diploma, the important thing to take with you, in my humble opinion, is the notion of endless possibility. If I were equipped to offer you advice, and I'm not sure that I am, but if I were, I would say that I hope you wear your craziness as a badge of honor. I hope that you define success for yourself. I hope that you find enjoyment in what you do, whether you're jobless and searching for a few months, or whether you're working 18 hours a day right out of school. Whether it's a path of necessity or a path that you've actually chosen, you're lucky to be doing what you're doing. At some point, you're going to look back on struggle and you're going to romanticize it anyway, so you might as well allow yourself to enjoy it while it's happening. I would say that you should not accept the world as being unmalleable. No one owes you anything, so don't buy into excuses for why someone thinks you can't do something. But also don't get cynical when you end up doing it anyway. If I were equipped to offer you advice, I would remind you that you chose college because you wanted to learn about the world, and you chose sociology because you wanted to change it. So go change it. Go do crazy things. Go do them with a smile. Do them respectfully. Talk with people who disagree with you. Pay extra for something that's made in America. Skate as fast as you can in a circle. And for the love of God, when you set foot in the White House, make sure you shave your beard, because the President of the United States will definitely remember. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you.
My name is Steve Clayman, and I'm a professor and former director of graduate studies for the UCLA Department of Sociology. At this point, we move toward the ceremonial part of the festivities, but first I want to take this opportunity to thank Kal Penn for his very insightful and inspiring remarks. Thank you very much. Now it is my very great pleasure to preside over the PhD hooding ceremony, where we formally acknowledge those who are receiving the doctoral degree in sociology this year. For each recipient, the doctoral degree represents the culmination of many years of scholarly work. This work includes mastering the tools of social scientific research and applying those tools to a dissertation, a large-scale research project designed to answer some key sociological question or address some societal problem. The kind of original research investigation of this sort requires creativity and vision. It requires energy, tenacity, and focus, and I might add, considerable self-sacrifice in the service of contributing to our shared understanding of the social world. It is that contribution that we honor here today, but this is also a rite of passage marking the transition from the status of graduate student to that of Doctor of Philosophy. As I introduce each PhD recipient, I will also note their dissertation title and where they're going from here, so you'll get at least a sampling of the wide-ranging and important work that our people are doing. We begin with Christina Chin. Christina will be hooded by Professor Stefan Timmermans. Her dissertation title is Hooping It Up, JA Style, Boundary Making and Community Building Within Japanese American Youth Basketball Leagues. Christina will be a postdoctoral fellow with the Asian American Studies program at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Christina Chin. Yuval Feinstein. Yuval will also be hooded by Professor Stefan Timmermans. His dissertation title is Rallying Around the Flag, Nationalist Emotions in American Mass Politics. Yuval will be an assistant professor in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at the University of Haifa in Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Yuval Feinstein. Jaeeun Kim will be hooded by Professor Gail Kligman. Her dissertation title is Colonial Migration and Transborder Membership Politics in 20th Century Korea. Jaeeun is currently a postdoctoral fellow at the Center for the Study of Religion at Princeton. She will begin another year as a postdoctoral fellow at the Shorenstein Asia Pacific Research Center in Stanford, and then will be an assistant professor at the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at George Mason University in August 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Jaeeun Kim. Yana Kucheva will be hooded by Professor Robert Mayer. Her dissertation title is The Dynamics of Participation in Subsidized Housing Programs in the U.S. Yana will be a postdoctoral fellow at the Stanford Center of Poverty and Inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Yana Kucheva. Taekyoon Lim will be hooded by Professor Cesar Ayala. His dissertation title is The Renewed Mercantilism and Persistent Legacy of the Developmental State in Korea free trade agreements with Chile and the United States. Jaeeun is applying for academic positions in Korea and elsewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Taekyoon Lim. David Medina will be hooded by Professor Vilma Ortiz. His dissertation title is Tracking Oppositional Identity Among United States Youth. David is currently Director of Research and Analysis at Alliance College Ready Public Schools Charter Network in Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. David Medina. Erica Morales will also be hooded by Professor Vilma Ortiz. Her dissertation title is Black Boundary Lines, Race, Class, and Gender Among Black Undergraduate Students. Erica will be an assistant professor of sociology at the University of Missouri. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Erica Morales. Ana Muniz will be hooded by Professor Stefan Timmermans. Her dissertation title is Expert Racism, Police, Politicians, the Wealthy, and the Production of Racial Boundaries in a Los Angeles Neighborhood and Beyond. Ana has been funded through the Open Society Foundation's Soros Justice Fellowship to establish a Youth Action Research Center at Chuco's Justice Center in Englewood, California. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Ana Muniz. John O'Brien will be hooded by Professor Stefan Timmermans. His dissertation title is Growing Up Muslim in America, Managing Multiple Cultures in Everyday Life. John will be a visiting assistant professor of social research and public policy at New York University, Abu Dhabi, starting this fall. I present to you Dr. John O'Brien. Chinyere Kimberly Osuji will be hooded by Professor Stefan Timmermans. Her dissertation title is Marriage and Mistura, Black-White Couples in Rio de Janeiro and Los Angeles, California. Chinyere is currently a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Pennsylvania. I present to you Dr. Chinyere Osuji. Marisa Pineau will be hooded by Professor Hannah Landecker. Her dissertation title is Liquid Gold, Breast Milk Banking in the United States. Marisa will be returning to Washington, D.C. to pursue a career in health policy. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Marisa Pineau. Rocio Rosales will be hooded by Professor Stefan Timmermans. Her dissertation title is Hidden Economies in Public Spaces, a study of fruit vendors in Los Angeles. Rocio will be a Chancellor's Postdoctoral Fellow at the University of California, San Diego. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Rocio Rosales. Forrest Stuart will be hooded by Professor Stefan Timmermans. His dissertation title is Policing Rock Bottom, Regulation, Rehabilitation, and Resistance on Skid Row. Forrest will be an assistant professor of sociology at the University of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Forrest Stuart. Jenjira Jennie Yahirun will be hooded by Professor Judith Seltzer. Her dissertation title is Intergenerational Relationships in Immigrant and Non-Immigrant Families. Jenjira will be a postdoctoral fellow at the Population Research Center at the University of Texas, Austin. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Jenjira Yahirun. And finally, if you would, one last big round of applause for all of our doctoral recipients for this year.
Now we invite the class of 2012 to enter the stage at both sides and receive what we prefer to refer to as their symbolic diploma. Thank you. Beth DuFault.
Aaron Albert.
Kathy Zhou.
Rachel Marie Borowski.
Nidia Gracia.
Catherine Hollis Taylor.
Talisa Diane Hayes.
Ashley Ann Ray Kemper.
Kayla Butler.
Brittany Schneider.
Jean John.
Chelsea Novelly.
Eduardo Duran.
Carly Wallace.
Tony Nguyen.
Benny Tran.
Paul William Klein.
Corey Hauser.
Jessica Martinez.
Ollie Zach.
Nadia Basilio.
Swasti Naidu.
Danielle Aaron Weinstein.
Tiffany Paredes.
Kenneth Jean Derrig.
Stephanie Souza.
Camila Taji DeNova.
Lisa Tran.
Lindsay Alexandria Stone.
Eileen Kim.
Julie Cerna.
Josie Lynn.
Joanna Polanco.
Kayla Marie Chima.
Adon Calzada.
Elinka Philemon.
Carlos Benitez.
Lucy Sang.
Jillian Marie Kemper.
Kathy Keespay.
Anthony Bechtel.
Amy Franklin.
Christina Sujung Jang.
Doreen Robbie Shield.
Lily Wong.
Amalia Robles.
Teresa Soriano.
Katia Sanchez.
Alicia Ray House.
Lee Whitbeck.
Rachel Arbor.
Samantha St. Laurent.
Janelle Kanamasu.
DNA Vargas.
Elizabeth Cho.
Amy Chen.
Melissa Hogue.
Annie Nugent.
Shireen Gupta.
Diana Gomez.
Yulia Villanova.
Anna Zoe Shields.
Jesse Steven Nova Gutierrez.
Jasmine Umana.
Jeanette Jimenez.
Marina Tirada.
Arturo Magallanes.
Gabriel Viramontes.
Brianna Castaneda.
Crystal Anna.
Hurima Cyrus Kia.
Brianna Doe.
Okay, I want to take this in for a minute.
Mark Anthony Chambers.
Adrienne Chang.
Laura Harmon.
Leslie Jonan.
Kenneth Kennel.
Joyce Wang.
Levon Riley.
Ashley Rowe.
Cesar Porcayo Morales.
Sonia Park.
Sonia Ladin Raiders.
Crystal Yoonhae Pak.
Priya Saluja.
Curie Kim.
George Martinez.
Danny Lay.
Karina Meza.
Mona Golyan.
Reina Reyes.
Michelle Vaughn.
James Choi.
Michelle Toledo.
I'm sorry, Hermoso. Vanessa Hermoso.
Lina Montione.
Crystal Lynn Molino Garcia.
Martinez.
Nicole Samana.
Amanda Martinez.
Melissa Ann Buak.
Alice Pagano.
Mario Albertico Magana.
Mercedes Jimenez.
Brisa Ponce.
Nancy Jasmine Salas.
Nicole Forsberg.
Lindsay Donnelly.
Casey Spalding.
Iliani Polito.
Elizabeth Kramer.
Gio Secas.
Brock Devlin Williams I.
Elizabeth Jimenez.
Lindsay Pollock.
Jeffrey Dignan.
Irene Pantaleon Martinez.
Joseph Foria.
Zed Dadaboy.
Caitlin Bauer.
Kin Pong Ho.
Morgan Jade Oberstein.
Priscilla Ramos.
Taylor Cannell.
Jeanne Middleton.
Ashley Kinney.
Richard Anthony Garcia.
Sasha Diaz.
Esteban Hernandez.
Jarrell Johnson.
Jacques-Andre Roussel.
Blake Arnett.
Kenichi Kosaka.
Austin Aragon.
Crystal I. Keene.
Ashley Malkukian.
Jacqueline Paredes.
Ashley Jana Jadenfar.
Shafali Nandwana.
Natalie Nabadi.
Nicholas Darian.
Sanaz Yashari.
Soon Jo Hong.
Tanaz Rafali.
Michael Dwayne Blackwell II.
Lauren Seidenberg.
Jessica Marie Labonte.
Nicole Porter.
Michelle Bakani.
Stephen Schultz.
Arlia Madamba.
Ariana Bornhoff.
Michelle Maximo.
Adrian Owl.
Miriam Rana.
Allegra Ann Sayri.
Sabrina Letizia Valdez.
Lin Lin.
Nilofar Nuri.
Jessica Zhou.
Panta Ulissa Savis.
Jessica Bong.
Sohel Shari.
Kay Kim.
Florencia Estevez.
Leticia Agro Diaz Rodriguez.
Chelsea Guinoza.
Joseph LaSalle.
Daniel Kalili.
Jessica Chan.
Renee Shamlu.
Corey Smith.
Hilla Ohabin.
Sharon St. John.
Shiva Shahabi.
Brittany Noel Harris.
Jasmine Ingram.
Melissa Anthony.
Christopher Aguirre.
Manny Macias Jr.
Lizeth Lopez.
Melissa Penhaskash. Shal Penhaskash.
Erlinda Villegas.
Nicole Aslanant.
Erica Salas.
Talaya Yamtobian.
Christina Soriano.
Charlotte Sarah Kakshoy.
Corey Morris.
Courtney Marie Hunter.
April Pasqua.
Yeah!
Kyra Hall.
Yes.
Good luck.
No, I was.
Oh, okay.
Combat area.
Luis Torres.
Divinity Sarden.
Connie Lau.
Brittany Abraham.
Yvette Duarte.
Whitney Alana Goucher.
Luis Lopez.
Milan Rose Ardoin.
Maria Valenzuela.
Ashley D. Williams.
Brent Rivas.
Keemer Raymond.
Gregory Zoom Ruptian.
Lazarick Jones.
Arnak Azarian.
Amy Choi.
Hangul Kim.
Andrea Boz.
Yeji Lee.
Dev Patel.
Denise Marone.
Brent Eli McLeod.
Maria Guadalupe Casillas Torres.
Stephanie Michelle Shimada.
Anna Berenice Herrera.
Timothy O.J. Tunde.
Rebecca Isabel Herrera.
Kanaya Richardson.
Nelson Yu.
Selena Stasi.
Jennifer Chan.
Lilith Nanat Sakanya.
Chanel Beasley.
William Craig Rockwell McGowan.
Jeanette Ayala Rios.
Brian Thomas Salachi.
Courtney Keel.
Randy Breezy.
Jordan Enderer.
Brittany Esther Rosen.
Eder Areola.
Lily Gatika.
Victor Yanis.
Veronica Kopelovich.
Oscar Reyes.
Morgan Byers.
Eric Tsai.
Tatiana Butenko.
Christina O.
Danielle Lucci.
Trin Win.
Elena Mo.
John Castillo.
Jay Aquino.
Emmanuel Chen.
Ivana Tay.
Crystal Pak.
Jonahan Duong.
Janet Chuki Peng.
Un Cho.
Arata Tomoyoshi.
Amy Marie Garden Velasco.
Fong Catherine Win.
Donnelly Natiza.
Dawood Hamadzada.
Dara Han.
Robert Cody Binion.
Vanessa Silva.
Kritika Kailash.
Caitlin Michelle Walter.
Benito Quezadas.
Laura Pepper.
Marinel Gutierrez.
Alex Salibian.
Laurel Elizabeth Abau Munn.
Peggy Tyree.
Stephanie Buelna Betancourt.
Julio Hernandez.
Nellie Petrosian.
Angie Carolina Herrera.
Marcus Alexander Theodore.
Hugo Limon.
Maricela Carbajal.
Susan Reyes. Casper Yen. Armand Jafari. Rebecca Gardner. Atonye Nigafa. Michelle Penthouse Kashi.
Congratulations, class of 2012. Now it's time to turn your tassel from right to left. The significance of moving your tassel in this way is that you are now college graduates and have the rights and privileges that come with earning a Bachelor's of Arts degree. So, what does the future hold? Let me give you an idea. We invited several successful alumni to talk about how sociology degrees helped them in their careers. Among those Bruins was John Kobara, who is Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the California Community Foundation, an organization that manages more than 1,600 local charities with more than $1 billion in assets. He works in a very diverse setting, so diverse that they even have some USC graduates on the staff. These USC graduates had the habit of greeting each other with a secret hand signal, and this worked on John's nerves. So he called them in his office and he asked them, "What does a Trojan call a Bruin?" Awkward silence. The Trojans looked at their feet and did not answer. So John answered for them. Trojans call Bruins boss. So when you all become bosses aiming to make a difference in the world, we hope you do not forget about us. We are a sociology department in a public university at a time that public funding is being cut. We like you to remember that there are still many generations of Californians and others waiting to receive a superb education at UCLA. If you like to help out, you can visit our website or scan the code on our program. But more importantly, though, is we like to hear from you. We like you to stay in touch, so keep us posted of what's happening with you. In the meantime, have a wonderful life.